Hey guys, it's Gabby. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I have the do's and don'ts of striping tape using gel nail polish. And you guys, I have been meaning to do this video for months, like actual months. But yeah, hopefully these tips will help you guys out. And yeah, let's get right into the video. So just in case you aren't familiar with striping tape, this is what it looks like. It's basically a really thin tape for nail art that makes it so much easier. And I'll have a bunch of links in the description box of where you can get it from. So for my first example, I'm going to be using these Candy Coat candy sticks. And basically these are a one-step gels, so I'm not going to have that tacky finish after each coat. And just like with normal nail polish, I took a piece of striping tape and laid it across my nail, and then I'm just smoothing it down using some tweezers. Next, you're just going to take your second color and paint it above the tape, and you want to make sure you're doing thin coats. As you can see, this is pretty sheer, but you don't want to rush it and try to do one thick coat because it's just going to mess up your lines. So I ended up doing one coat, I cured that, and then I did a second coat and I cured that as well, and then after that I removed my tape. And as you guys can see, it gives you a really nice line, and this way is super easy because I did use one-step gels, so I would definitely recommend doing that if you can. And then here is my nail from the side. You can see, because I did thin coats, they're not like two completely different levels of nail polish, but if it does bother you, you can always add a top coat. So one thing I love about gel and striping tape is if you're painting, having a good time, and then you go over the line, you can just take a brush and wipe it away like nothing even happened. And make sure you do this before you cure it though, because if you cure it, it's not going to wipe away. So moving on to my next example, I'm going to be using the Kiara Sky gel polish, and this is not a one-step gel, so I am going to have that tacky layer in between each coat. So just like my previous example, I laid my tape down and I'm trying to smooth it onto my nail, but because it has that tacky layer, it's kind of just sliding around, like I can't really stick it to my nail as well, but I still went ahead and filled in the other area with my second color, and again, I'm going to cure it after each coat. So whenever I get around my cuticle area, whether it's normal nail polish or gel nail polish, I like to take a little brush and fill in any missing spots just because I feel like you have more control and it's less likely to get nail polish on your skin. So that is something you can do, but it's kind of a personal preference at the same time. So this time when I went to take off the striping tape, I wasn't able to get that really sharp, clean line because I couldn't really push down the edges of the striping tape, and that is because I still had that tacky layer on. So instead, what you want to do is take some rubbing alcohol. I'm going to be using this. I got it from Target. And then instead of using cotton balls, you guys, never ever use cotton balls with this step because you're going to get lint, little cotton fuzzies all over your nail. So I'm just using a makeup sponge. You can also use a lint-free wipe, and I'm just wiping off that tacky layer on my nail. And you can see it's all dried up, and then when I went to put the striping tape on this time, it didn't move around. I was able to really press it down into my nail, and this is what you want. And then again, I'm just going to repeat that same design, filling in that area with the pink gel. And then after I cured my nail after each coat, I removed my tape, and I got a nice clean line, and it looks so good. And then because this isn't a one step, you do need to finish off with your top coat. And then yeah, this is the finished result. So next, I'm using two more Kiara Sky shades, and one of them is Rose Bun Bun, which I love because it reminds me of that SpongeBob episode with like the anyone care for a bun bun? Like, I don't know. Anyways, this next example is when you're using the striping tape as your line. So basically you're going to have to take your second color and completely cover your nail. And there are a lot of ways to mess this up. So I'm just going to start with the don'ts. The first thing you don't want to do is paint the nail, cure it, and then paint it again and cure it again, and then try to remove your tape. So that's actually what I've been doing with the other examples, but if you try it here, your tape is just gonna get like stuck under the gel. And it's crazy because I actually thought this would work, but even when I tried to pull out the little strips of gel that were left, it looked really bad. So this is something you don't want to do. And then after that, I was like, oh, what if I paint on the gel and then remove the tape before I even cure it? And I don't know why I thought this would work, but it didn't. Basically, gel is so runny that it just ran under the tape so easily. So again, this is something you don't want to do. So the next thing that you don't want to do, because I know that there's somebody out there who would try this, you don't want to try to like get that nail polish done in one coat. So as you can see, this is what one coat normally looks like. It's not as opaque, but if you try to just glob it on and cure it and then remove your tape, gonna look so bad. Like, I tried it just again to show you guys, but it didn't even cure all the way through. Like, it was still wet underneath this layer. Like, it was just a mess. So don't try to rush and make one thick layer. It's not gonna work. And finally, this is what you want to do to get those nice, perfect lines. So I already wiped my nail off with alcohol and placed my striping tape down. And again, I'm just going to cover my entire nail with that second shade. And as always, make sure you are keeping your coats as thin as possible, because especially with this way, you're going to have your base color, which is normally like 2 coats, and then you have this, which is going to be another 2 coats, plus your base, plus your top coat. So it's already going to take forever to soak off, so just make sure you're keeping them thin. So after that first coat, you're going to go ahead and cure your nail, but after the second coat, you guys, if you don't listen to anything else in this video, after that second coat, do not cure it. Instead, you're going to go ahead and take off your tape. And you guys, this worked so well because basically the tape is stuck down enough to where it's not going to seep under because you did cure that first coat, but because you're not curing that second coat, you can still easily take the tape off. Does this make sense? I have no idea, but it works, so I'm going with it. And this is your final result, but like I mentioned before, this is a lot of coats, and I still added a top coat to this as well, so it is going to take longer to soak off, so that's the biggest con to this. But you guys also have the option of making thin lines like I'm doing right here. That way, it's easier to soak off, and it saves you more time. So yeah, those are my do's and don'ts for striping tape using gel nail polish. I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!